Hey everybody, it's Troy. I got a question from a customer as part of a webinar today, which was, how do I take a Zoom recording and crop out all the stuff like the camera videos that I don't want on there? And then how do I also get out the ums that come naturally from a speaker? So let's start with first one here. I've made a mock screen. Well, this is not a real mock-up. It's it does have our Zoom controls over here, and I was pretending to share my screen with folks here. And in that, we've got a little audio with a bit of ums in here, which we'll get to in a second. First, how do we get out this part here? Well, Zoom burns this into a video, so it's not an extra layer that you can just magically get out. So one of the options is to go up here to the crop mode, and I'll choose crop, and I can crop it that way or this way. And if I want to, I can also get rid of the controls up at the top by bringing that down. And now that is the entirety of my video. I'll get out of crop mode and back into the normal mode here. And from here, I might even scale this up just a little bit so that I don't get black bars. Scale that just a little bit more and bring that in, and then I'll have to just track to make sure that what I'm doing on the screen is actually fitting on there. Alternatively, I might just center it and be good with the black bars on the side. That is a distinct possibility. The other alternative is to not do that. I'm undoing here and simply use zoom. So Shift A to zoom in, and with this I might scale it in and then scale it up just maybe a little bit more, something around like that. Obviously I can fine tune it, right? And then I'm here, and then let's say for whatever reason it's actually important for me to bring the people back. I created another one with Shift A, and then I can bring them back into focus, and then later back to Shift A and bring them off to the side. So it sort of looks like zooming in. One of the more challenging parts. Okay, now let's talk about ums. Here we go. This is one of the more challenging parts of our projects. Okay, so a couple of ums. One at the very beginning. This is okay. We're going to zoom in. Okay, and here we are. Zoom in. One of the more challenged. Nope, was earlier. There we go. Okay, so I got my in here. I can choose that selection using the selection tool, and then within here I can silence that audio. Double clicking back in here, and I'm just going to zoom out just a little bit so I can see it again. Moving back. This is one of the more challenging parts. Now, it looks a little bit artificial, right, when you move that out. This is one of the and that's an option. The other option is to make that selection again, and I'll just hold down Command Delete, and it cuts it out, stitches it up together so it sounds like this. This is one of the more challenging parts of our projects. Okay, now I have an that's a little bit trickier because this is bleeding into this other word, moving, because it goes moving, and that's going to be harder for us to do. So let's zoom in. I'm zooming in as close as I can. If you don't know how to zoom, you can use this toolbar over here. Move. But let's try it, right? Let's make that selection, and I can, as I did before, right click in here and silence the audio and see how that plays out. Hold on, go back to here. Our project's moving forward. That's a little bit odd, right? It's not super smooth. Ums are tricky, and it is one of the reasons why you can either leave it in or you can go all in. And we do have a tool for that called Audiate. It's an aftermarket product that we built, And I can show you that when you import the audio, and you can take the audio from Camtasia into Audiate, but this is Kenneth Branson, I think his name, Sir Kenneth Branson, guy in charge of version records. But let me just have you listen to 20 seconds of his audio.
Well, I think just to be slightly more accurate, we've generally speaking started by owning pretty well every company. So
okay, so you can hear, in fact, you hear the ums even more pronounced over here.
Companies, and then.
So you can imagine cutting out ums for him would be really, really hard. And if you wanted to, yeah, you can go down in here. You also do get these little red dots that show you they give you a chance to sort of fine tune things, and you can make those selections. But the really brilliant part of Audiate is that it allows you to simply go and silence all the hesitations. That's what those dots are. The ums, we're calling those hesitations. So I can just silence them all, or if I want to, I can just delete them all. And so it sounds a little bit more like this.
100% ownership in the companies, and then over the years.
And if you want to get even better, it's like and then over the years, you can get rid of words and simply hit delete, and the audio goes with it.
Companies, and then over
probably don't need two overs, right? Whoops, cancel, hit delete one more time.
Companies, and then over the years,
right? You can make somebody sound a lot better. Anyways, that's why we made that other product. You can certainly do it. It's going to take a fair bit of work inside of Camtasia, but you can also extract the audio from Camtasia and go into the export audio only, send that over to Audiate, and then bring the new audio back into Camtasia. That is definitely an option. Thanks for watching. Hope this helps.